Spoilers! So this week I'm going to be covering two movies because I saw one a little earlier. Needed to wait for you guys to have the shot at it. So, this week in Spoiler Zone, I'm covering 30 minutes or less as well as Final Destination 5. Let me begin with 30 minutes or less. I don't have a lot to complain about here because it's a comedy. The number one mission for a comedy is be funny. It was hilarious. I laughed a lot. I gave it 3.5 out of 4 stars. I realized that the scheme to get the tanning salon is a little strange because once you rob a bank, you got enough money for the tanning salon, but why would you pay a guy $100,000 for a hitman job? Like, for a non-political figure, that's a lot of dough. Once you have a method of paying for that, you should have just bought yourself a tanning salon. Hey, I robbed a bank, I've got a tanning salon now. Or, I mean, like, why would you have a guy rob a bank to kill somebody else to inherit some money? And it's not even factoring in that the major, he's probably lost a lot of the money already from his lottery, okay? I think they said 10 million. Once he dies, and I think this has been reinstated, there's like a huge tax for inheritance. So suppose he has like 2 million left, then you've got $1 million after taxes. Like, I guess they probably could have just been fine with the bank robbery. They didn't even need to kill the dad. And even with that in mind, at the end of the movie, you have this commercial for the tanning salon. And the dad's there. So they got him on board with the idea after they shot him. And he appears to be crippled to some extent. Like, are their negotiating skills just not good enough? Like, he couldn't have said, hey, Dad, I got this idea for some kind of sleazy tan salon. Why don't we go together with this? Which is ultimately what they did. So he didn't even really need to plan the assassination to get those other two guys in on robbing the bank or anything. Which, yeah, I guess in a drama, you could kind of look at this as like some weird flaws, but it's a comedy. You know the premise is far-fetched, and it's fun while it lasts. So, not a lot to complain about there. Final Destination 5, on the other hand, is mostly the other movies. Okay? I've seen bits and pieces of them here and there. I've seen most of the first one. I think I've seen almost all, if not all, of the second, and some of the third. Screw the fourth, which is that one Final Destination. There's no the and there's no numeral. Anyhow, it's so redundant in how this is set up. You have a guy on a bus and he has a premonition. Like, this is the 5th movie to start out that way, where someone is in the situation, they have a premonition. I would like to know where the premonitions are coming from. Like, you have death killing people, but who's giving these people the premonition to stop this? Like, is death doing that also? How come this is never explored? These people have visions, and they're like, yeah, I had a vision. Now we have to worry about death killing us, instead of, well, maybe I need to find the source of the vision to help me, get death out of our face. You know, who knows? No one ever explores this. I just think that there could be a better way to set that up. Also was really confused about the situation here. These people are going on some kind of retreat, which would not happen under any circumstance in my part of the country. No one hires people and then sends them off for team building where I come from. They do not have the luxury of doing that. It's like, hey, any minute you're with us, you got to be working. We're not going to work on any kind of team building, higher level thinking classes, none of this, okay? You're here, you're selling stuff, that's it. And then later on, the guy is seen like he's a chef at a restaurant. Like, pick a job and go with it. What place do you really work at? Maybe they should just focus on giving a character one job. I never heard anybody talk about him having a second job while he's over at the paper factory, mill, whatever. So, it's really bizarre that a guy has 2 jobs that appear to be relative full-time kind of stuff. Like, you could get a whole movie out of one or the other. He could have had friends that are not necessarily co-workers that he went on a trip with. So I found that to be a little strange. Another interesting point here is, and probably the coolest thing about the movie is at the very end, guy and surviving girl get on a plane to France. Who else is going on a plane to France? The kids in the first movie. So interesting enough, they meet the kids from the very first movie aboard the flight. Those guys get off and they're like, hey, what's wrong with them? I don't know. Oh, snap. And then you find out that this movie takes place in 2000. I think it said May 2000. And that makes me want to see the movie again, maybe on cable or something, and look for anachronisms in the cars. And I don't, off the top of my head, I did not see any new cars around. I wasn't particularly looking for them, but there was a clue at one point. The chubby guy who is always hitting on every woman he sees, he has a cell phone, and it's a clamshell design. And when you see that thing vibrating over there, and it leads to his death and all this, you kind of wonder, like, wow, what's he doing with an old phone like that? Who still has those? Everybody young has a smartphone now. Where's his Android? Where's his iPhone? And by the way, I got a new phone today. Not happy about it. Probably going to do a Vaughn vlog over it. So look for that. So you get a clue that this does not take place in present day. And if I remember correctly, in the first movie, I think someone may had mentioned something about a bridge collapsing. Don't research that or anything. I thought I remember hearing like the Devon Sawa character saying, yeah, somebody had a premonition before or something about this stuff. Maybe they didn't. You do have to wonder about the creepy coroner, though. This guy has a lot of knowledge on the subject before meeting the heroes of this movie, of the fifth movie, which takes place before the first. How many times does this crap happen in this town? This creepy coroner is probably Death himself, like screwing with them. Or he's like some kind of weird angel that assists Death in some way by, like, you know, giving these kids a little bit of clues just to mess with them. Like, maybe he's Satan, I don't know. It kind of makes you wonder, though, like, how does this guy know the rules? Like, they're like, oh, well, you're a coroner. I guess that means you know how to fight death, and that means that we can trade places with them by killing somebody else and taking their years. This guy knows the rules to death and all this. Like, no wonder he's never on the hit list. And then at the very, very end of the movie, you got the guy, and it's supposedly 2 weeks after this guy died. Anyways, he's at some kind of wake or something, memories thing at this bar. And they're like, yeah, it was nice of you to show up, blah, blah, blah. Oh, did you know the guy had like a tumor or something? Yeah, he's going to die any minute. Boom! Dead. So, death only kills you in Final Destination if you know you're supposed to get killed. Once you trade places with someone, you don't need anyone telling you the guy has cancer or anything. You're good forever. But as soon as you find out there's something wrong with that dude, oh man, you're gone. You know, that's all I gotta say about that.